Can I get a moment of your time? Smoke a little, life's a game of chess. Drugs, guns, who just got me on the run? Let me shine a little light. Can I get a moment of your time? Smoke a little, life's a game of chess. Drugs, guns, who just got me on the run? Let me shine a little light. I grew up on the 50s, I love my whole city. Got the little ones with me, I ain't going back to prison. House with a yard, I get my own unlocks, I walk my own yard. I'm Figaro. Check 1 2 1 2. Everybody's filthy. Get your hands dirty with them concrete burpees. Anybody out there? Man, what a day, what a day, what a day. No dragging. Everything's working right. Trying to fucking zero this shit in, right? What's happening right here? What a day. Today is Sunday, January 26th. So we got a bunch of people tuning in already. Appreciate you guys. For those that haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And yeah, you know, let's we got a very special guest today. You know, very special guest. And he's here to, you know, share an amazing journey.
Pretty much.
Yeah, an amazing journey. Not your ordinary journey.
Definitely not your average run-of-the-mill journey.
Hey, I want everybody, you know, to give it up for this very special individual right here. Give it up for Adrian. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for, you know, coming on and, you know, just, you know, being able to, you know, have the courage, you know, have the everything that it takes to get on a platform and you know, open up your heart, you know what I mean? You know, and share you know, such a personal journey to the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I remember, you know, when we were talking on the phone a couple days ago about, you know, what this is going to look like and what I'd be willing to talk about and stuff, it goes beyond me, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things you gotta just face the darkness, you know, and hope that somebody else, you can reach somebody else.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I thought about it too, man. And you know, I was just like, man, this, you know, this could help out so many people out there that, you know, or that might be in the closet or with their feelings or, you know, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, you know what I mean? But to share the same, you know, feelings that you share, or the people, I know there's a ton of people that can relate with you 100%, you know what I mean? You know, and, you know, I mean, you have a very special story. I mean, you were conceived in this world with a female anatomy, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born in actually South America and back in early 80s, 81.
Right.
And I was assigned female at birth. That was what was on my birth certificate. That was the anatomy that I had. It was till about actually probably the first time I knew was 4 years old. 4 years old, where I didn't feel like like there was something different. Like I didn't actually feel like my brain was actually matching the physical body.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you know, God has a heavy load. However, we're brought into this world, you know what I mean? You know, when there's mass production, right?
Mhm.
When there's mass production, you know what I mean? Out of millions of, like, say if you're you know, and I mean, I'm just kind of like painting like some type of metaphor, you know what I mean? Like mass production of cars or anything, you know what I mean? And you're just pumping these humans out, you know what I mean? I mean, the maker, the creator is bound to fuck a couple things up sometimes.
You know, and I felt like that most of my life. I felt like it was fucked up. Like I was defective. I felt that. It wasn't until the last few years that I realized that I don't think it's about, being happy or being easy, because all the shit that I've been through my life, most of it hasn't been easy, and it didn't have it, it wasn't until recently that I've been able to have, happy moments. But I realize now that, like, I think the creator had given me a purpose in order to, I mean, I think it's bigger than us. It's interconnectedness. It's tolerance, it's compassion, it's learning those things. But I was an angry, angry person for 30 fucking years.
30 years. And so you were born in South America.
Yeah, Venezuela.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because when I first met you, you know what I mean? I thought you were just a bro from like Orange County or something like that. You know what I mean?
Most people do.
You know, yeah, and what a trip, and so how long were you out there before you came to the States?
I believe my parents moved here. I was about 3 years old.
3 years old.
3 years old, I'd say, somewhere around there.
Okay. And what kind of stuck to my head, what you said a minute ago, was at 4 years old, you had already a feeling. How did you know you were 4 years old? And how do you, like, do you remember, like, hey, you know what? I mean, as far back as you can remember, you're figuring you're about 4 years old.
4 years old. And it was actually on my birthday, because I started, and I've got a 5-year-old daughter now.
Yeah.
Right. And watching the development of how she puts it together, right? She knows now. And it was right about 3, 4 years old where she's like, oh, boys are different than girls.
Yeah.
But watching that development in her kind of clicked for me, like, yeah, that absolutely was possible. And it was my 4th birthday. And I do remember this, that my parents had brought me a cake and I'd blown out the candles. And my wish that day was that I would wake up and be able to be a boy. Crazy.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you have Barbies and you want cars.
It's pretty much. Yeah, I wanted the G.I. Joe.
You wanted the G.I. Joe, you know what I mean? So from the gate, you felt you were, like you said, defective. And did that really, you said it made you angry. You're angry for 30 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's tough. You know what I mean? Because you're inside of a body that you don't identify with.
Yeah. And, back in the 80s and 90s, this wasn't talked about the way that it is today. I didn't know that it was actually a thing. And so the further I got, like the older I was getting and the closer puberty got, the more I shut myself off, and became angry. And that's when, I started cutting. I started cutting at 11 years old. I had my first suicide attempt at 11 years old. I'd slit my wrists. And then the drugs came in.
How was, real quick, I want to get into that. Hey guys, tell me you guys can hear this real quick. Tell me you can hear that drum beat right there, that drum roll. This is important. This is a very important podcast, and we got to make sure that everything is, there you go. Thank you. So, you suicidal, 12 years old, you said? 11 years old. And, I mean, your mom, your pops, were you able to talk to them about it and say, hey, you know what? We got a problem here.
Really, nobody knew what was going on, let alone I didn't know what was going on. You're told this is who you are. This is what you are. You live in this box, and you have to learn how to exist within this box of what was given to you. And so I knew something was wrong. I began to just hate myself. At that point, I'm also realizing that, I'm attracted to females.
Yeah.
And my parents were always open. But like I said, the closest thing back in the 90s was RuPaul. And drag is totally different from, and RuPaul was seen as a freak.
I mean, back then, 80s, the time that you were, it was kind of frowned upon, you know what I mean? And like you said, RuPaul was looked at as a freak. So, I mean, it's a lot easier in this day and age, you you got all these movements going on, and it's, it's a lot more accepted, and there's a lot more compassion, and people may think something, but from now into back then they'd fucking say whatever the fuck they want to say about it. Now they kind of hush up because they don't want to get,
Yeah, I mean, you didn't, not your safety was it, but also just, trying to be in junior high and high school, like, yeah, it's
tough.
brutal.
So you were obviously like a tomboy, right?
Oh, very much. I played soccer, baseball. I wasn't ballerina, wasn't any of that. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to be like rough. I played water polo. I wanted like contact sports, the same things that, my brothers were doing.
So when you said 11 years old, suicide attempts, I mean, if I'm your parent, I'm like, all right, well, we got something going on here. Did anyone ever sit you down and said, hey, are any counselors and anyone you felt okay to open up and let them know how you were really feeling inside,
I don't think I felt safe enough to tell anybody what was going on inside. There was so much shame.
Shame as in the picture that was painted around you or within yourself?
Within myself.
Within yourself, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you felt shameful because you felt that you were maybe possibly committing a sin. You were sin the way you were thinking, maybe?
I was committing a sin, how hard it was going to make it on the people like my parents and my brothers and sister who I'd cared about, being accepted, among my peers.
I mean, was it hard times growing up with your family?
I mean, it had the normal family dysfunction.
Yeah.
I think as a parent, that's one of the things too. It's like, I'm not a perfect dad, but you do the best you can. And, sometimes I feel like I'm just winging it.
Yeah. I mean, we all are, bro. We all are.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. It's trial and error.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's not do that again. And then you do it again. You're like, fuck, what a fucking idiot. Let's try not to do that again. And like, we're not perfect. Shit happens. I feel like, real quick, I'm touching on the parents. Like, I feel us as parents, like, we're probably the coolest parents ever, bro. You know what I mean? Like, our era, bro, like, we're fucking, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shit, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. But anyways, I don't want to get too deep in that. But man, I would just think though, if I was your parent though, I'd be just like, hold on, something's going on with with Adrian.
Well, they did. I was hospitalized. I did start seeing a therapist. But yeah, I got that deep rebellion streak in me, and I can't tell you how many therapists I said, just fuck you.
Yeah, but when you were cutting your wrist, why were you cutting your wrist? What was the reason in your head? You're slicing your wrist, You're in pain.
I was in pain. I was hurting. And I didn't. It was like an 11-year-old existential crisis. How the hell am I going to go? I'm 11 and it is this bad, but everything's at 11 years old. Everything's
to the 10th power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever have, you said you were attracted to girls, but did you ever have a sexual encounter with any males?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that just like, you're just like laying there fucking yawning?
Yeah.
Kind of like it wasn't doing nothing to you?
Well, and that came much like later. I was probably 17, 18. I was actually with females before I was with a guy.
Yeah.
And then, you try and figure out like identity and who you are at that age, supernatural. But I think I tried to fit myself into that box.
Yeah.
And it was so uncomfortable and unnatural.
Yeah. Really awkward.
Real awkward.
Real awkward. Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, and so 11 years old, you're cutting your wrist. You're seeing all these fucking therapists. How rough did it get?
It got rough. First time I ran away from home, I was, I think, 13, 14 years old.
What were you running to though? Were you running from yourselves? Were you running from your parents because they weren't, identifying with you? Or, were you just fucking so pissed off? It was fuck the world,
I think that's more what it was. I was making, I was trying to make enemies of everyone, because I think I felt misunderstood. However, I never made an attempt to have anybody understand me. So I ran, and I wanted to you know, like the drugs were coming in, and my parents were not. They, you know, they were straight shooters. They, you know,
They were straight shooters. They
yeah,
were playing that shit.
they weren't playing that shit. So
Yeah.
I knew if I was at, you know, my homies' houses, then I could get away with what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, as kids, I mean, I can identify with you on that because I was just such an angry kid myself. I was so pissed off, man. And I mean, I grew up in a fucked up fucking household, man. You know, but I mean, the first instinct as a kid is just, I gotta go, gotta run. You know what I mean? You know, and then next thing you know, you're looking for love in all the wrong places, and then you catch that wave of drugs, and it just takes you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it took me.
Yeah. So, what kind of drugs were you? You know.
Well, you know, it started, you know, just real experimental fun, you know, smoking pot, dropping acid, eating mushrooms, and doing, you know, crank.
Yeah.
And then it went further into, you know, pills. And then eventually at like 20, I got really heavy into heroin.
Yeah. And that's like one of the worst drugs you can fuck with.
It just grips you in a way that I couldn't even foresee. Like it had me before I even knew it had me.
Took your fucking soul, huh?
Everything.
Yeah. And I mean, at the point where you were at mentally, it probably felt really good.
Yeah, it shut everything off. It numbed it, you know. I mean, I can remember looking back and thinking it was like a warm, safe blanket. That was the way that, you know, it felt like I could finally breathe and exist. Like,
numb the pain.
Everything.
Yeah. And so suicide, 11 years old. I mean, when did you officially like hit the streets? Like you're gone, you're running away. You said what age did you say were?
First time I ran away, I kept running and they kept bringing me back, and I kept running and bringing me back. But I eventually left for good at 17.
17, huh?
Yeah.
No contact with moms or pops or anything?
Well, no, my parents moved to Indiana my senior year, like right before my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Somehow I managed to like scrape by and graduate.
You still graduated?
I graduated somehow. Like I think half of it was just, I don't know, showing up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was able to graduate high school. But as soon as I did, I bought, you know, a 1989 Grand Prix, and I drove from Indiana back out here to California. I was like, fuck that, man. Shit.
I mean, what's it like compared to Cali? I mean, nothing compares to Cali, right?
Well, when you grew up here, and then
you take it to Indiana.
It's complete culture shock. You know, you're like, all right, you know, I'm not that hard, but this is you know, Birkenstocks with socks, and
yeah.
So
yeah, that's crazy. I can imagine. You know, so you get that car and you come back to Cali, and I mean, what was the plan?
I don't think at 17 you really have a plan. It really like we didn't have smartphones. So I went on and I printed a map, and I just got in the car and I bought a bottle of No-Dos. I had a sack of weed, and I bought some ramen. And I packed up that car and I just drove. And I think in Oklahoma, my alternator went out. I found some, you know, mechanics to help me out there.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got to like Arizona. I kicked it in Arizona for a little bit with some homies. And then I drove the rest of the way. And I was like, okay, now what? Now you get a job and you know, find a place.
Yeah. So did you got a job and found a place?
I did. I found a couch.
You found a couch, right?
Found a couch.
Yeah.
And I did find a job. But the drug use had already began, so it made it difficult to actually show up on time to jobs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the couch that you were staying on, were the people around under that roof also as well on drugs?
Actually, no. It was this little nice old lady. You know, I don't know where she's at today. Unfortunately, I probably owe her amends. But you know, I was young. She's like, "Yeah, I'll help you out."
Yeah.
You know, until she's like, "I don't want you here anymore."
It's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's time to go. Yeah. So So you're around what? How old are you at this time?
18 years old now.
18 years
Yeah.
old. So I mean, you said you were angry till 30 years old. You know, so what was that? I mean, from 18 to 30, you know, what transpired? I'm sure a million things did, but
Well, 2 weeks after my 18th birthday, I got arrested for the first time.
okay, what'd you get arrested for?
I got arrested for possession.
Possession, okay.
I was actually sleeping in my car,
Right.
and cops rolled up on me early in the morning. I think I had some weed, I had some Adderall pills, I had some coke,
Yeah.
and they rolled up on me, and they took me in.
Yeah.
So,
A little time for that?
a little bit. I mean, well, no, actually, I think it took them about 2 weeks to give me the PC 1000.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got out, as soon as I hit that free payment,
Yeah.
I was gone. I was like, fuck this program. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and I took off. I don't think there was definitely never thought of like, oh, the consequences. Like, what, what's it? I didn't care. I don't think I ever really expected to live past 25.
Yeah. You were just kind of like on a crash course. You no fucks given.
Exactly.
Let's go. I'm getting fucking high. I mean, like, who did you have obviously you didn't have a real support system. I mean, did you have people you were dealing with that were, bisexual, gays? I mean, did you have
Not
people
really.
that identify with,
No.
you know what I mean, to talk to?
No, not really. All of all my friends were, and I had male, female friends. They were all really accepting because I was very, very masculine. At one point I just shaved my head. Okay, you have your
Yeah,
hair?
that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you had long hair. Like, how was you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Eventually, I just shaved it. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Did you ever wear makeup or anything like that?
Never,
No.
never.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I do remember the first time though I got arrested. When the cops took me in, and they questioned. They were like, "Wait," and then they saw the ID, and the ID said female.
Yeah.
So they booked me into the women's side, and those cops back. This is like 99, 2000.
Gotcha.
They were like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You're some sort of fucking freak."
Wow, they're coming down on you like that. Huh?
Yeah.
LA County.
LA County.
Yeah, he's fucking dicks.
Yeah. And Orange County does the same shit. It's probably actually even worse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would think so. They're a little more probably prejudiced in Orange County. Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So how much time did you do that?
Like I said, that one, I ended up running. They gave me the PC 1000.
Oh, that's right. That's the one.
I took off.
Yeah.
My solution was leave the state. So I went to Arizona.
Yeah.
And that's where I got, well, actually I did try to do the program, and I met a girl, we meet all of our best ex-wives in rehab.
Right. Yeah.
So she ended up kind of just going on the run with me, and she was really heavy into the heroin. Up until that point, like heroin was like, all right, with the homies, like
that was the thing.
Yeah, it was like, all right, but it didn't really. Once I got into that relationship with her, it just spiraled out.
Fucking had you by the nuts, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, so let me ask you a question though. Like, I mean, being a gay female, you know what I mean, at the time, right?
Exactly.
At the time, you're a gay female. Going into the county system, man, that's like one big party right there, isn't it?
Oh man, it was. Yeah, it was, and
it's like a fucking meat factory. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's like licking your chops.
I think I used to talk from this place of like, I used to say like, oh man, like, oh, you're trying to punish me and you're putting me here with like 600 females, like, and I'm the mask. Of course, they all want me. You know what I mean? Like,
destroy this place. They all gonna know my name by the time I get out this bitch.
Yeah. But it just became like a game. Like it was just normal.
Yeah.
And looking back at it, man, it's pretty sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a game, like, and
well, did you watch the 2020 episode a couple weeks ago?
No.
This is kind of. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking about this.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So back in 96, 97, there was a guy and a woman on trial for murder for Newport Beach yacht murder. They had thrown the couple overboard.
Okay.
This is how sick I am. I started dating her while I was locked up.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I was like,
Wait, so you dated the wife
yes.
that was with her husband
Yes.
that threw another couple off the yacht
Yeah.
and killed him?
Yeah.
Like premeditated
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah, like nothing.
So she's just a sick ass bitch, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you're a sick motherfucker
A sick
too at the
motherfucker.
time.
I'm like, oh, she's a pretty little white girl. Like,
Yeah. I mean, crazy attracts crazy, man.
I think it does.
You know?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell me and my girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy motherfuckers, you know? But yeah, so okay, so you get out, you're on the run,
Mhm.
you know, and so obviously you eventually return back to the county to serve some time, right?
Yeah. A couple buddies and I from Arizona, we decided we were going to just come out to California just to fuck around and, whatever. And I ended up getting pulled over. We had gone through a yellow light. The cop lit us up. We were, blazing inside the car, and the cop immediately. So he ran my name, and I had a warrant, took me in.
So have most of your I guess at the time, drug buddies, partners, people you're running with, homies, I mean, whatever you call them, are they most of them males?
I'd say half and half.
Half and half.
Half and half.
Yeah. And everybody knows at the time, like, hey, this is it's the homie right here.
Yeah.
She's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was never a problem. Sometimes it was almost just like easier. Like people just accepted me for as the, angry lesbian that I was. It was like, oh, that's Dree. So
Yeah. Dree
is what I went by.
Dree is what you went by. What was your birth name, if you don't mind saying?
Adrian.
Okay. Such a pretty name, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a pretty name and such a masculine personality and body at the time, right?
Yeah.
I can imagine that being fucking, tough,
Yeah. And in the community now, we typically call that a dead name.
Is that in the transgender community, you call that a dead name because you were reborn Adrian?
Yeah.
A rebirth.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about? Have you ever been attacked by Christians or anybody on a religious group? Because I think they really, a lot of them are really heavily against it, aren't they?
Yeah. Fortunately, I haven't had to have too many issues,
too much backlash.
Yeah, and
people leave you alone.
And that's the thing; most people won't tell you to your face.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't like even having this conversation with you. I'm kind of tiptoeing on I don't know how to. I don't want to offend you, or I don't know how to refer or all right, gay, female, all right. You know what I mean? Not that I have anything crazy that I want to just abruptly say anything like that, but I'm really I've never had this conversation. So, it's a sensitive.
It can be
if you make it right, or if you have bad intentions.
I think, and that's where it is, right? Because most of the individuals in the LGBT community that, I'm completely open to educating someone. I know that most individuals are not going to go on and take the time to go on Google and find out all the how to properly use pronouns and how to properly
And that's a part of the education.
That is, but the individual Lucky, I shouldn't have to expect you to go do all that. If you're open-minded enough to have a conversation with me, hey, why not? You know what I mean? And at that point, it's oh no, actually, what would be more respectful would be, using he, him pronouns.
Yeah.
But only usually, the people that I see having the most difficult accepting is, the baby boomer, older generation.
Racist bastards.
They just can't wrap their head around it.
Yeah.
It's
God didn't make us right?
Yeah.
They got some fucking, no. And that's I'm sure the people that you probably get side-eyed from and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And this is the point of, not only telling Adrian's story, but your story, but having you come on and educate us, you know what I mean? You know, because a lot of us, you know what I mean? I mean, what does an education consist of? I mean, you know, when it comes to you saying, hey, let me educate you on who I am.
On who I am, I guess I can only speak from my own personal experience. Not everybody is exactly the same. I will speak out of my own personal experience, and in a general way, be able to say, hey, most people in the LGBT community prefer this sort of stuff. Now, it's not black or white. We're not living in absolutes here.
So check it out. Can I be brutally honest with you?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, when I see a female and she wants to, this male transformation to male transformation, it's really interesting. You know what I mean? But when I seen, what's his name, Jenner?
Oh, Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah,
Caitlyn Jenner. Bruce Jenner.
Formerly known as.
When I seen, and maybe it was just because of all their fucking bullshit, that Kardashian hype and just all that drama. But when I seen that dude from being that fucking Olympic gold medalist, from being on the Wheaties box, you know what I mean? From just always seeing that dude on TV, and all of a sudden, he's got tits and ass like fucking his stepdaughter's wife. I just thought it was just so fucking weird, man. It's just kind of like, and I got, and I expressed that back then on social media, and I got fucking backlash by I got, some people shouted at me. I mean, they hollered at me about this, that, and I should be, accepting. I just thought he was just like, maybe it was just an overall picture of that family, all the drama, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird. But then when I I met you, and, off the rip, you were just such a cool motherfucker, you know what I mean? And I don't know why, but I just look at it. I look at it different though, you know what I mean? I just, maybe because, I don't know, maybe I'm just more open or understanding because, also too, because I know your brother too, you know what I mean? And it's really interesting. And then I met you as an individual, and it blew my mind when I found out that you were born a girl.
Yeah.
Because when I met you, I was like, fuck no, shut the fuck up. We're at that barbecue, bro. We're fucking drinking. We're fucking eating. We're chopping it up, laughing. You're fucking standing there with a pretty white girl. You know what I mean? I just thought you were a bro from OC or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then when I got the full scoop, I was like, shut up. What? And it just kind of, it blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah. And that's, I think that day was a funny day because most of you guys have known my brother since, forever.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many of the homies that night were like, oh, damn, Gabe, I thought you had a sister. I was like, I didn't know you had a brother. He does have another brother. We have, another brother and another sister.
Yeah.
But at the time I was, I think we were only like 9 years apart. So, and then my, Nikki, my girlfriend, was like, do they know? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't exist with like a big sign on my forehead that says like I'm transgender. I just exist my life. I live my life as a heterosexual man. I have a girlfriend. We've been in a stable relationship. I have a 5-year-old daughter that I raise as my own. Like my ID now says male. My name is legally Adrian.
Wow, your ID says male, huh?
Mm-hmm. So I don't want to get locked up now because I'll go to men's prison.
So this is the most interesting part about this. Transgender, transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same word, right?
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
So how did that start? And from the beginning to where you're at now, how has that transition been?
So I'm going to back up a little bit because the heroin addiction, I ended up coming back out to California.
Gotcha.
I did 2 prison terms. I went to Chowchilla. My first time, the second one, AB 109 up in LA County.
Right.
I did fight immigration case because I was born in South America and they wanted to take away my papers.
Yeah.
So I have all these consequences and I can't stop using dope,
Yeah.
you know? And so my solution was to get methadone. So I got a methadone. I'd go to the clinic every morning, get my dose, go home. And it was just this really mundane existence, you know?
What does methadone do to you? Is it just like is it the same, gives you the same high?
No, no, it doesn't get you high at all, basically. I guess if you took it in excessive amounts, I don't know. What I know is I couldn't risk going back to prison because I would be sent back to Venezuela.
Yeah.
Like that was my last shot, and I was terrified of getting deported to a country that's in really bad like terms right now.
Yeah.
So
Have you been back since?
last time I was there, I was 21.
You're 21.
And it was just starting to get pretty bad.
Do you speak Spanish?
For the most part, I mean, we can't have an existential conversation, but you know,
Yeah.
I get by. I surprise people a lot of times.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but so yeah, I got on the methadone, and in that time, I had gotten back into therapy, and I started dating a girl who had lived in Seattle. Seattle's like super progressive city. You know, everybody's just like be who you are and love who you love. And she asked me that question, you know, and it wasn't the first time. People had asked me that my whole life, like, "Do you want to be a boy?" You know, and I would just clench. I'd be like, "No, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm fine like this."
Yeah, you're good with being a gay female.
You're right, but I was lying to myself.
Because
you
in
know?
deep down, you wanted to be a boy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted the world to I wanted to feel like a man, and I wanted the world to perceive me as who I really was inside.
So that's so fucking crazy, man. I just gotta let that breathe for a minute real quick. You know what I mean? You know, like, man, God really screwed up with you, huh?
Did he though?
Did he? Yeah. Well, you said that, you know, maybe he used you as a, you know what I mean? You know, someone to, you know, speak on it, right? Educate people.
And if we want to get, you know, even deeper, like metaphysical, when I was 14, I was actually in Venezuela, and my abuela had taken me to a shaman. At this point, I'm starting to cut myself. Like I'm having issues. So my grandmother had taken me to a shaman. It was an Amazonian shaman, like tribal shaman. And it was really interesting because I had no idea there. And that conversation that transpired with him was he basically said one of my purposes on like this time around, right, was because I needed to learn how to treat women, like how to respect the female.
Huh. This time around.
Yeah,
So in your past life,
that's what the shaman had.
you had a bad rap.
Insinuated as an asshole.
You were a motherfucker.
So
You had to learn how to treat. Ah, man, that's such a fucking trip, dude. Can you imagine in your past life you were just a fucking womanizer? You were a man,
yeah,
and you were abusing women. You know what I mean? So they said, you know, in your next life, we're gonna put you as a man in a woman's body.
yeah, and a lot of Native American tribes revere. They actually have always identified a third gender in Native American tribes. It's called the two-spirited, and they possess both male and female. Not her like
Yeah, that's crazy. That's two-spirit.
two-spirited.
Yeah. Fuck you and no, I don't know. I was sure there's no time for any fucking jokes or anything, but I'm just saying that
There's always time for jokes.
Yeah. Hey, but that's a trip, bro. That's really a trip. So you see this shaman and it kind of shines a little light. You know?
No. At the time, you have no idea.
You're so young.
So young. I was too young. I was like,
Too young. You're like, fuck's this dude talking about?
I don't even believe in God.
This dude high as fuck. You know, what's he smoking on?
The ayahuasca.
Yeah, the ayahuasca. Hell yeah. Have you ever tried that before?
No, that was the one that I never got to.
Man.
Yeah.
They said that the DMT that you know what I mean, it will come to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, apparently, your body produces it naturally when you're born and when you die.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah. Secretes through the fucking third eye or some crazy shit, bro. I've been down a couple rabbit holes on that shit, man. I mean, you know, but I mean, they say you take a some type of death. You take a
the spiritual death.
yeah, the spiritual death,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll try that shit out.
Hey, maybe one day I might. I don't know. I've
Yeah.
been sober for 5 years, so.
I mean, if that came knocking at your door, being the fact that you have been sober for 5 years, you know, I mean, would you?
I've thought about it, you know, 'cause it's kind of one of those things like that being a spirit drug.
Yeah,
If it were like present itself, I would honestly consider.
I think you would have to.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
kind of
I think that would be telling you that you have come full circle.
Mhm.
And yeah, 100%, bro. If that ever comes to you, I mean,
Now I'm not going to go seeking it out. But
yeah,
if it
no, if
absolutely-
it comes to you, like they say that it will come to you if it's, I mean, so, so you want to go ahead and continue?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So methadone therapy, girlfriend, who asks me that question,
yeah,
do you want to be a guy? And I gave her the same response that I had given everybody else. No. And she's like, because if you are, like, it's okay. Like, there's a thing. It's called transgender.
yeah,
And I remember that night I went home and I went down a Google rabbit hole
Yeah.
and I started reading other people's experiences and like seeing how relatively common it is. I don't think people realize how often they encounter someone who identifies on the transgendered spectrum.
yeah.
You know, I mean, like you said, we met and you had no idea.
I mean, you got more facial hair than I do, bro. You know what I mean? Some bullshit. You know, it looks like you can almost grow a full beard. I can. I got this little armpit hair right here, bro. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Dog. I got a fucking straight fucking ball hairs on my chin. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, you know.
So I actually had seen a doctor, spoken to the doctor and the therapist, and got a letter and decided to start hormone replacement therapy. So I would be getting testosterone doses weekly to raise level of testosterone.
Yeah.
And testosterone is obviously much more powerful than estrogen.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. I'm still, you know, taking benzos every day and on methadone. And I realized there was kind of this realization. I was 33 and it was like, this is it. Like, all right, well, if I start my transition, maybe I'll be happy and I can stop the drugs and like just somewhat have a normal life.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. I ended up having my 9th suicide attempt. I had taken, 220 milligrams of methadone and like 21 Xanny bars with like a tall boy, and went into blackout. And when I came out of it, it just shook me so deeply. Like I didn't fucking die. Like what the fuck,
Let's rewind that real quick. You took 21
Xanny bars,
Xanny bars.
Yeah.
Xanax.
220 milligrams of methadone, and a tall boy.
Son of a bitch, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my roommate said I was up and walking. I don't remember. There's 3 days of my life that are just completely unaccounted for.
And so did you end up in a hospital?
No, I woke up in a piss-soaked bed.
Yeah.
And called my girlfriend. She had wondered where I was. And I said, I need help. I need help. This is like either kill me or help.
Yeah.
And so we found a doctor who admitted me in Long Beach, and they detoxed me off of all the drugs in 2 weeks.
What did that consist of, detoxing you in 2 weeks when someone is heavily on methadone and,
Well, they were cutting my methadone dose by like 10 at first, 10 milligrams every day.
Yeah.
And then 5 milligrams, which is harsh.
So, I mean, that's 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks.
And how was that? How was that ride right there?
It was kind of a blur because you're so sick that you don't really remember anything. Yeah. I was in a hospital. I had a PICC line. I was seizing out, and then eventually kind of like towards the end, I remember waking up one day and it was like I could see color again. Like life had been so just gray. And one day I woke up and it was like, oh my God, I could see color.
You got that cloud, that dark cloud off your head or something, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
The world just brightened up for you, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sober.
Yeah. But you'd think it'd be that easy, right? Because I'd tried to get sober. I mean, the government had been trying to get me sober for 20 years.
Yeah.
And go to these classes, go to this, do this.
I mean, but
live in
are
this
they
house.
though? Are they?
No. It's
a business, right?
Yeah.
It's a business, right?
Yeah. And
I mean, is methadone, it's like a drug, right?
they see it as a therapeutic drug. I work in treatment now and we don't use methadone.
Because I know I got homies and shit, or I've known individuals in the past that, always hanging out at that methadone clinic, and it just seemed like, I was like, man, this shit must be getting them high or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it was a replacement for the heroin. You know what I mean?
And the appeal to that though was that I could go to the clinic every day, get my dose, and I didn't have to worry about the grind of like needing to go rob something, to go get my dope, to go, back into these dark fucking alleys. At one point I was living on a tent behind Olvera Street, in downtown LA. Like I was sleeping on the side of the freeways. I was hanging out down there on Skid Row. It was, living in the trees up in Boyle Heights.
Yeah.
Watching like homies just, buddies just drop. One day they're there and one day they're gone.
And the majority of those people that are living in those tents and side of the freeways and everything, they're all like, most of them are, have bad addictions to drugs, right?
Addiction, yeah, it's drug and alcohol addiction or mental health.
Mental health, huh? I wonder what the percentage of that is between mental health and a drug addiction.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics on
think
that.
Maybe it's like split down the middle.
Well, I think a lot of people who suffer from addiction have these co-occurring disorders.
Yeah, it's probably mixed together and shit. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So I mean, what was one of your worst memories? Do you have something that just stands out? Like, man, I remember this day right here. I mean, besides overdose enough of
probably one of the worst. I'd made this makeshift tent up in Boyle Heights, and I was at that point. I started prostituting, just to be able to like not be dope sick. Nothing crazy. It was kind of always that last resort. Yeah. Like, oh fuck, like I don't want to be sick, so like I'm just gonna stand right here and wait for somebody to pick me up.
And so when you're prostituting, you're a gay female at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're
very masculine looking gay female.
And you're prostituting as a female to men.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And that killed me inside, So I ended up scoring 22, and I went up into those hills, and it was fucking crazy because I put it in my mouth, and the thing fucking jammed, and that scared me. That did scare me because I was so ready, and then you kind of get shaken, like what the fuck, like when you're staring at death that closely.
Yeah, wasn't your time.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And
glad that gun jammed.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be sitting here having this, story, and you wouldn't be sitting in the good place that you are now, right?
Yeah. No, life is it's good. It's I say it's like pizza, even when it's bad, it's good.
Yeah, no doubt. So, man,
there's a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty deep right there. You've been, you've really, really, really been through some hard times. Like that gets, I don't think it gets any worse than that.
Yeah, I don't like to rate other people's hardships or pain, like, because I know like you've had pain, it's just different pain. It's just, it's just that hard too.
Yeah.
I think all of us really are, but it has definitely seasoned me to the person that I am today.
Yeah. I've tried killing myself before.
Have you?
Yeah. It was it was a really bad time in my life, man. And I don't really want to talk about it because it just kind of like fucks me up a little thinking about it. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, you said seasoned. It's funny you say seasoned because my girl, she told me yesterday on a brighter note, right? She said, so she goes, I fuck with you because you seasoned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you've been through some shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, that's what attracted me to you. She goes, I didn't want some fucking little young ass fool wet behind the ears that ain't been through no shit. You know, what attracted to me to you is you being seasoned. That's the exact word she used, bro. You know what I mean? You've been through some, you know, hard times, and my heart, you know, she told me that yesterday, bro. I thought that was, she told me, yeah, yesterday she told me that. And I was like, damn, I mean, you've never told me no shit like that. That's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
You know? But life is crazy, man.
It is crazy.
Life is crazy. And we all, if you sit down and talk with somebody, I realize that, you know, we can all have things in common. You know what I mean? You know, I'm a gang member, you know what I mean? You know, I was gonna say ex-gamer, but I'm still a gang member no matter what. You know what I mean? You know, but I don't fuck around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not running the streets. I'm not causing no trouble. I'm paying taxes. I'm taking care of my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I'm just saying, and then, you know, you as a transgender, like we share, you know what I mean? Similar pain, you know what I mean? Similar struggles, you know? And sometimes some people just sit down with another individual, and even if you are opposite looking people, or however you want to call it, you know, you'll find some things that you relate to with the other person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 100%. And I think it just requires that like open-mindedness. And like when you had brought up the Jenner thing, you know, and that's one person's experience. And most people don't have money to just drop and change overnight.
Do you look at me like I just felt? I mean, do you look at me any different, bro? Like saying like, hey, you know what? Like, I mean, because I just thought this dude was just like a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like just like, bro, you just like, I don't know, but I mean, like being around all those females, you know, these beautiful women all his life. You know, I mean, his daughters, just being consumed by that whole lifestyle. And did he just start like? I mean, did he always feel like that inside? Or did that Kardashian fucking curse or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean, just fucking consumed him and took his soul, and all of a sudden he wanted fake titties and a fake ass? You know what I mean? I don't know, you know?
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is like, because there are times of my life where I was super prejudiced to anything that I never really experienced. And in fact, I am also guilty of slandering the LGBT community, and I'm in the LGBT community, you know, where like I was so afraid of it, or I just wasn't educated about it, that I'd be like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with those people?
Yeah.
You know, but there was something in me that wasn't willing to open my mind to hear somebody else's story, you know?
I mean, we got to open our hearts and minds, man. You know what I mean? And this is something that I'm just like learning, especially when I'm doing these podcasts and shit. Like every time I get one of these interviews or something, it just opens up my heart and my mind to something else. You know what I mean? You know, and I mean, I love it. But so back to you and your transition.
Mm-hmm. So I began the HRT, hormone replacement therapy. I was getting weekly testosterone shots. I had just detoxed everything. When I had gotten out of the hospital, though, I think I knew to the core of me that I was just going to go back to doing what I always did.
Yeah.
And so that girl I was dating had known somebody who was a manager of a sober living and a treatment center. They said, hey, call the owner. Call the owner. They might be able to help you. And so I called, and they accepted me in there. So I decided to go to treatment. I mean, I was so weak, Lucky. Like I couldn't even stand. I remember like looking at the guy and just being like, "Oh my god, like you're so, 'cause you worked out a lot." And I was like, "Dude, you're fucking huge, but I need help. Like
Yeah.
help." That was the only words that could come out, help. And I did. I went in and I decided to actually give the treatment thing like a shot. Like this time, like an honest one. Before it was like, okay, I'm gonna get the courts off my back. Like I'll go get the courts off my back, and then I'm gonna go back to doing
What I'm
doing.
doing.
Right.
This party started back up. Yeah.
So this time was like an honest shot.
Yeah.
And so I'd gone in. They had known about my transition, but when I got there, they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, you have to inject something weekly. Like, we can't have you here." And I was like, "Fuck." So they had given me a number, and I was walking out the door, and like it just flashed ahead, like in my mind, something my grandfather, my abuelo, used to say to me, and he would say, "You know, if you can sacrifice this much of your life, you can get this much of your life." And it just really like hit me because at the time he was talking about college, but I never made it to college.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, like, I need to sacrifice everything right now because if I don't try and like stay sober and get a hold of my life, like, I'm not going to have a life. I'm never going to be the person I want to be or be able to have relationships or any of that stuff. So, I got off my hormones for the time I was in treatment and I got out and I went to a sober living and I just started showing up for people and I got a job and I was like, it was hard. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was getting sober,
Yeah.
you know? But, I started going to meetings, and that's what I ended up doing,
Started, being around people trying to with the same agenda, with the same mission, get sober. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like heroin addiction, man. I see so many of the homies, man, and I'm like, man, that's got to be the worst fucking drug to kick or get over. And some dudes don't ever get over that shit. You know what I mean? And then I all the times I've been in LA County jail, and I see that one homie, you know what I mean, that's fucking kicking heroin. He's fucking dying. You know what I mean? He's dying. He's trying to eat up sugar. Fucking dude, like. I always saw that and I was just like, nah, that shit ain't for me, Like I was always the fucking, I like to go fast, you know what I mean? I never fucked with needles. I've never injected any drugs using a needle, you know what I mean? And I always felt like if I was going there, then I was just like, it was just a little overboard on my head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If this can't get me high, what's in this pookie or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then, I'm good, but, there are extremists, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That wants to fucking blow the roof off the bitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get that, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, you know what I mean? But man, that's gotta be like, you went through some shit fucking kicking that drug, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the same time, so you're showing up to.
I literally was talking to trees. Like when I had gotten out of the hospital, I was still kicking, and I was hallucinating. And I remember I was like talking to these trees. I was like, "Just help me!" Just they're like, "Oh, that's a tree," and I'm like crying.
I mean, you were really broke. You were like you were broken all the way down.
Tap.
You were tapping, huh?
Yeah.
One time I got fucking, I got done doing a pro violation, and I was fucking with one of my homies and shit, and he sold crack cocaine, and we'd be in his we'd be in his backyard and we shoot darts, and we'd smoke crack cocaine. I remember we'd smoke it out of the fucking soda can. We put the ashes, we put the little holes, we put the cigarette ashes, we put the crack cocaine, you know what I mean? And I got, like it wasn't my drug, but we partnered with the homie slanging it. There's just a lot of crack cocaine, you know what I mean? And next you know it kind of like got me, you know what I mean? And I remember I was inside this fucking, inside this apartment that me and an ex chick that I was with, we had broken up. She had left. It was time for for me to leave, but I was still there. There was nothing inside the apartment except like she left it. It was just trash, bro. You know what I mean? And I remember I was so fucking, I was cracked out, man. And I look on the carpet and I just go, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I was just like, and I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, I'm fucked up. You know what I mean? You know, whoop. You know what I mean? Like, man, I got to eat something. You know what I mean? I open up the fridge and there's 2 potatoes and, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? There's nothing, bro. You know what I mean? And I remember that day I tried to check myself into a rehab. You know what I mean? And I called a rehab in Serrano, El Sereno and shit. You know what I mean? It was called Socorro or something like that. I think that's the name of the rehab. And it's a waiting list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you know what? I need help right now. You know what I mean? They're like, all right, well, give me your name and we'll put you on the waiting list. You know what I mean? You know, and it was just like, you know, it's the first time that I ever, that I had tried to check myself into rehab. You know what I mean? You know, but I ended up somehow, some way bouncing back from that. I didn't get into the rehab, and you know, the strength within myself. You know what I mean? I pulled myself out of that, and you know, I started working or whatever. But anyways, I've been at some, you know what I mean, some low points. I mean, you know, that's probably one of them, one of many. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's fucking, that shit's fucking tough, man. You know, so you're you're in transitioning from a female to a male. I mean, what is that process like? Did you used to have like a pretty voice? You know what I mean?
It's funny. I don't actually remember my voice. And I was too much of a fuck up to like have anything to record my voice.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if anybody's ever got like an old answer machine message. Like it might, you know, come across.
So you really don't remember your voice?
Yeah.
Did you black that out or what? Is it a mental thing that like, I don't know that person no more? Like you said, in the transgender community, that's the death.
Yeah.
That's someone that doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah. Well, then there's so many dark moments associated with that life and that past. It's not that I don't want to remember it.
Are you ashamed of it?
No.
I mean, it's who you are. It's what made this person sitting right here.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of your structure.
For a long time, I was.
You were?
Absolutely. 100%.
So if you did not transition to the person you are now, would you not be able to live with yourself? I mean, are you good now because of you reached the person you are now?
I believe so. With everything, like to my core, that I believe that the reason I am able to be sober and do the things that I do today is because of the transition. And it was the only aspect that was different from any other time that I really tried to get sober. Like I actually was like living my truth.
So you get in these TRT injections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Testosterone injections. And I mean, how is that? What is the time frame? You know what I mean? Did you go through like a month and all of a sudden a chest hair pops out and it's a fucking celebration? Like you're fucking, you know what I mean?
Well, think of your puberty, right?
I mean, is that kind of?
So being that I was like, you know, I was 34 when I got back on the hormones. You go simultaneously, you're in puberty while you're in menopause. It's fucking awful.
Wow.
So,
well, how old are you now?
I'm 38.
You're 38. So this is 4 years.
4 or 5. Yeah. I started 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay. So this is real recent then.
Yeah.
This is very recent. So if I had you 5 years ago sitting right here and you sitting here, would I be looking at two different people?
Two different people.
Two different people.
Yeah.
That's your past life.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at your past life.
Yeah. You'd be, half my face would be paralysis because I did so many drugs that I couldn't smile.
What exactly is paralysis?
Like I couldn't, like it wouldn't move. Like I had done so many drugs that I had fucked up the nerves in my face. And so like half of it would just do this.
Yeah. Wow.
And so
how did you get that back? I mean,
sobriety, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Just over time.
Yeah.
The body heals itself.
It heals. Yeah.
So, I was bald, like, few.
Right.
A lot smaller build. There
Yeah.
was no facial hair. My voice was more feminine. I had breasts.
And so, what happened to your breast
I got a double mastectomy 2 years ago,
2 years ago?
also known as top surgery.
Which is you cut them off.
A doctor does, yes. Yeah. It's the same procedure that they would do for somebody who had breast cancer.
So were you large up top?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God's got a funny sense of humor, doesn't he? Yeah.
And you just like you hated looking at those things in the mirror.
I couldn't.
You
Yeah.
couldn't.
I couldn't. They almost didn't exist to me. Like for most of my life after puberty, the only part of my body that I could look at was like my legs and then my face. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so as you're in your transition period, you have a double, what do you call that again?
Double mastectomy.
Mastectomy. Okay. And that's during your transition period, right? And you know what I mean? Like what else happens? I mean, besides you having you have facial hairs now.
Right.
You
So
know?
that the body masculinizes itself. It's the same way that like when you hit puberty and your testosterone levels go up,
Yeah.
your voice cracks, right? Your
Gotcha.
voice got deeper. You started growing like the little mustache hairs first.
Yeah.
Your face kind of chisels out a little bit.
Yeah.
The muscle mass starts to grow.
Yeah.
That all happens just by being on the hormone.
Gotcha.
And then I had a year sober. I legally had my name changed and the gender marker changed through the court system.
Gotcha.
So nobody could ever. I mean, that's who I am now on paper.
But just out of curiosity, though, when you change that, like, so you can legally change that,
Mhm.
and so you still have the same social security number.
Same social security. Yeah.
Yeah. The birth certificate doesn't change.
It could, but I'm not about to go to a tiny little pueblito in Venezuela. And
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get you on that.
But if I was a U.S., I know other people who are U.S. citizens who can change the birth certificate.
Got you. Okay. And so that's such a trip, man. So do they know that, hey, or is that just private information at this point? Like is there a side note saying, hey, Adrian used to be this person?
You got AKAs, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think,
so it's on the rap sheet kind of.
I think, I've never seen my, my FBI or federal or whatever files they have out there, but I've never seen any of those files, but I do know that I've got several AKAs.
So it doesn't wipe your hands clean of the crimes you committed when you were a female.
Correct. I'm still the same person.
What a trip. Yeah, you don't want to get busted again, man, because that'd be kind of weird. They'd be like, all right, well, when you were in civil, what is it, civil brand?
No, that was Linwood.
Yeah, Linwood.
Twin Towers.
Yeah, that's such a trip. And so, I don't know if you're comfortable or not asking this, but does anything happen down below?
It could. Yes.
It could.
Well, yes, there is, and I'm going to talk from a medical standpoint.
Yeah, for sure.
So so the tissue is the same, right? Yeah. The vagina and the penis tissue is the same.
Yeah.
So, which is basically the clit.
Yeah.
So there is clit growth. Like that just happens naturally.
From taking the testosterone.
Yeah.
And does it start forming like a penis?
Kind of.
Does it get erect?
I mean, yeah. You've been with your girl, right? When you get her really hot and bothered, right? You know how her clit gets hard.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So.
What a trip. You must be like a master at the clitoris. The clitoris.
My girlfriend calls me a unicorn, actually. She's like, they don't make men like you.
You are a unicorn. Special, different. Yeah. I mean, one of a kind. I mean, they don't make too many. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. So you still have a female anatomy down there.
I have female genitalia, but I did have a full hysterectomy, where ovaries, the uterus, everything was taken out. I was having like bad pain because the tissue became necrotic, dead tissue.
Right.
So I was having like
You had to get that removed.
I had to get it removed.
Yeah.
So
for you, just for your medical safety, right?
yeah,
Health wise.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't miss it though.
Yeah.
But I do have friends who had what's known as like metoyoplasty or phalloplasty, which is actually they graft part of their own body and make an actual phallus.
And what would that be? A penis?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, what a trip.
Yeah.
And so are you working on that? Is that next?
It's kind of a place of undecided. That's for a lot of reasons. It's a series of very dangerous operations.
Yeah, because there probably hasn't been too many of them, right?
Actually, they're performed every day.
Okay. What's the success rate on it, or the danger? You know what I mean? Of it.
The success rate is, I think the from what I've read and heard, some of the more difficult is the body rejecting, rejecting your phallus. You like, reject it, even though it is part of you. Like you still have to. I don't know. It's it's I'm sure very very complicated, and so I just don't. I've found somebody who loves me for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Who I am. My daughter is, she doesn't ever question. Like she just sees me as daddy.
Yeah.
She doesn't see me anything else.
So can you reproduce male sperm?
No.
No. Okay.
We haven't reached that point in science yet.
In science, we haven't yet,
No.
right? Okay. Yeah. I mean, technology, the way it's moving nowadays, I wasn't sure if that was, if that exists yet or not.
There is some, underground things that, studies and all these, medical things that are going on. I don't know. Like for me, it's not so much about like having a penis didn't make me less of a man, like not having a penis, it doesn't make me less of a man, and I think that's where like I've really learned about like what is being a man, and if I ask you, Lucky, like what is being a man to you?
Swinging my nuts.
Okay.
Yeah. Slapping my girl with my dick once in a while.
Okay.
No, I'm just, like that might be that might come out of a lot of dudes' mouths right there, bro.
Right. It could.
You know what I mean? But being a man is to be politically correct is taking care of your family. You know what I mean? Doing the manly thing, providing, protecting, teaching, setting the good example, for the kids, ones around you. Sometimes you set the bad example, but as long as you're manly enough to fix that and fix your flaws, and being the man of a household is, I said providing already, right? You know what I mean? There's probably a lot of definitions people have.
Mm-hmm.
What is your definition?
Right. Pretty much on par with what you just said right there.
Yeah.
I provide safety. Like there's a woman in my life who feels safe when I'm around.
Yeah.
There's a child in my life who feels safe when I'm around. It is absolutely like being accountable, showing up, being a role model.
Yeah.
Providing. It's absolutely
being accountable. I like that, bro.
And it is. That's really what, because we've just gotten so far. I think earlier you said like, what a cool generation to be able to be a dad, to be a parent.
Yeah.
Like it's so different from what it was.
Yeah, we're not the fucking baby boomers, man. They're so fucking
and I think
straight edge and just
and I think
programmed.
Exactly. And I think there's just some awareness with the territory, because I don't know, most of the people that I know that I grew up with, like we're all fucking a little fucked up in a way.
Yeah.
And all of us were pretty much angry, because we were told in some way that we couldn't do this or we had to do this, and like no matter trans, straight, you were born in the same body. Like we all have the same goal, and that's is to be able to feel like filled and to fulfill other people that we care about. And that's really like it is a neat time to be a parent and to have that awareness, because it's not about shut up or I'm going to give you a reason to cry,
Yeah.
or man up, men don't cry. Like
Back then.
that was back then.
Yeah.
And like as a dad, like I even if I had a son, like I wouldn't want my son to be like that.
Yeah. Teach him different.
Teach him different.
Yeah.
Like I was having a conversation with my brother.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like, no, it's not about fucking pretending like everything's okay. It's about getting back up and showing them that like you're gonna make it okay. That we fall and we get back up.
Yeah. I mean, especially an individual like yourself that has fallen to the darkest depths of fucking hell or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like, man, you're seasoned as well. You know what I mean? Are you involved heavily in the transgender community?
I'm involved more in the recovery community.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the go-to guy when somebody comes in saying they've struggled with like gender identity, or I have a lot of friends whose teenage kids are coming out and they're like, I don't know, is this a phase? What's going on? And like,
Yeah.
they'll call me and I'm just like, hey, it doesn't have to be a certain way. Like, don't get your kid on hormones. Like, just okay, if they want to be, if they were born, Jane and they want to be called Henry, like just call him Henry for now. Like it's not going to hurt. Let them figure it out.
Yeah, give them some time. And don't panic.
Don't panic. Like let them figure it out. They're 14.
Yeah.
And so I do get a lot of calls like that.
Do you think a lot of kids, say gays, do you think they're born like that? Or do you think some of them are just kind of like confused and then maybe they get turned out, you know what I mean? And they're like, hey, you know what, I kind of like that, or
that's again, that's like this deep science question. Like we don't like, it's hard to say. I mean, I know that some of the studies they've done is like, oh, well, there's a hormone shift in the mother. That's what we're seeing is with a lot of transgender individuals, the mother has like a hormone shift. And so after the genitalia, or after the brain's already been developed, genitalia starts, because it's set like that's in the 9-month process, there's like, different stages.
Yeah.
And so there can be a hormone shift. I mean, they've said, I honestly, I don't know, but to go back and say, hey, at 4 years old, I was already certain of who I was and my identity.
You were born like that. Is there anyone else in your family that
identifies?
I mean, as any part of the LGBT?
No, not that. Actually, I have a cousin. I do. I have a cousin. She lives in Spain now, but she's from Venezuela.
Because I kind of notice sometimes in certain families where there's like, all right, there's a lot of lesbians in this family, so it might, like, I don't know, genetically run in that family bloodline.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, I don't know. I'm not. I don't have all those that schooling to say sit here and say. I mean, I can speak from experience, but just like addiction, was imprinted in my DNA. Like I was destined to be a junkie. Like
I mean,
I do feel like this too, but
your mom and your pops were so straight, so it was never like in your blood, or you didn't, what I mean? Sometimes when parents that had drug addiction and then they have kids, that gets passed on to their kids. I forget the word for it, man, but your parents were straight edge, right?
Pretty much. I mean, I know my father, he talks about, what he did in the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, but they never and he drinks heavily, but not to the point I think where, I mean, he did serve some time. He did vehicular manslaughter.
Okay, your pops did.
My pops did. My
Yeah.
real father. Not,
Yeah.
you know, I was raised by my mom and my stepfather.
I got you.
So, but my dad, yeah.
Do you share the same father as your brothers?
No.
Okay. I mean, we don't got to get deep into that.
Yeah.
Like that, but I was just curious.
Yeah.
You know?
No, we all got the
Yeah.
same mom.
Yeah, got you. Okay. And what a trip. And so, I mean, I wanted to say this a minute ago, but I think, God, or whoever, God created it, whoever, you think created, but like, bisexual females are probably one of the greatest gifts on earth. You know what I mean? Like God created freaks, they're freaky, you know what I mean? You can't, I mean, anyways, I thought I'd throw that out there real quick. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like a gift that keeps on giving and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes I'll be fucking my girl, like, hey, you stop playing. You like her, you know what I mean? Oh, she's like, she want me to. You know what I mean? But I think all girls kind of like that feminine thing sometimes. The feminine, real feminine girls, you know what I mean? They'll say like, oh, you know what I mean? Like they know I don't know, you know what I mean?
They just did so Pornhub just because anybody who clicks, right, they take the demographics, right? It's all so they printed, actually, they've done like several studies over this, and females most watched is lesbian porn. Females will go, like, even people who identify heterosexual females, they prefer watching female on female.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? I was just talking to my girl about, watching some porn and shit, you know what I mean? But then you get that one you put that one porn on and the dude's fucking dick is bigger than your fucking arm. It's like, God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you fucking showing off now. You know what I mean? Where's an Asian? Where's an Asian man fucking these brothers?
Yeah.
Nah, but anyways, fucking let's open it up for any questions. You want to answer any questions?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody has any questions, I've seen the numbers kind of gone up and gone down, but if anybody has any questions for Adrian right here, go ahead and feel free to ask, But so for the rest of your life, you will continue taking testosterone injections.
Yeah.
And you take them how many times?
Once a week.
Once a week. Okay. Once a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And while we're waiting for that, so it was crazy because the day that I had taken my first hormone injection, I had a deeper understanding of the man and more of a respect, where it was like, oh my God, like these men can't help, like you can't help waking up with like a hard on. Like it's like in you. You're just like every day you just
fucking raging with fucking testosterone.
And if
like, get over here, bitch.
Well, and you can't function, like you can't think if there's not like this release, like how heavily emphasized, like.
And females aren't like that.
No.
They don't need that release.
Well, yeah.
They need the release, but not like dudes. Like dudes need to bust that nut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the way females work sometimes is like, what's the ratio of when a dude has sex with a female and how many times she orgasms and how many times he orgasms every single fucking time? She might be lucky to orgasm like one out of, like, say, maybe 1 out of 10 times. Or is that my bad record?
That's your bad record.
Am I exposing myself?
That's your bad.
No, but damn, I just fucking put myself on blast. But no, but I mean, just the average female, and I've read like statistics, and I mean, sometimes girls are just like faking an orgasm. You know what I mean? Unless you're a magician like yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you must know all the tricks, the tips. You know what I mean? You know how to just like. You know how to ultimately like pleasure a female, being the fact that you were once a female.
I think that does give me an upper hand.
Yeah, right?
But not all women are, the same.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just because I've like perfected one with one person, I go to the other. It's like I know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I think in my sexual life, it's about that awareness and listening to like my partner and like those body cues of like. How
those body cues,
like how to be a good lover.
But you understand it a lot better.
I think
Maybe,
so.
you know what I mean?
I think
Because
so.
the dude just like, all right, I'm gonna stick my big ass dick and she's gonna love this shit. You know what I mean? You know, and it's just, it's not all about fucking just like, you know, sticking your dick in and aggressively just fucking, I'm gonna fuck the shit out. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's not all about that.
Yeah. No, and it's I was actually talking to a therapist friend the other day. And it was like it's so messed up because men are designed to, right, like the procreation, right? But like in order for me to feel connected to my partner, I need to have sex with her. Like I don't feel emotionally connected, and then after we have sex, I'm like, oh man, like I felt really connected to you, right? Where my girl is like, oh, I need to feel connected to you before we have sex. So it's like the language is different.
So I got a question for you. So, being the fact that you've had your female organs taken out,
Mhm.
you're on testosterone. What are you having?
So, it's heterosexual sex. I use a prosthetic.
Okay, no, but like, what is your? What is your release? Is it a mental release?
No, no. I mean, it's the same thing. I can still orgasm.
You still orgasm?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Even with the female organs being taken out?
I mean, I still have a vagina.
Yeah.
I just don't have a uterus. I don't have ovaries. I don't have anything that would enable me to procreate or create my own like female hormone anymore.
I mean, excuse my ignorance and you know what I
Nah,
mean
nah.
the matter, but you know, I mean, this is I'm learning. I mean, you know, this is a like having you on, you not only educating everyone else, but you educating me as well. And this is a good piece of information right here that people are going to be able to watch, man, and have a better understanding. You know what I mean? Thanks
Yeah.
to you. Adrian's story.
Well, and I think my openness and willingness to talk about it is because even my close friends, they have these questions. And then they're like, I'm sorry, is this inappropriate? Should I not ask? And I understand that with the territory, there is questions. Not everybody is going to be so open to talk about it. At this point, with the shit that I've seen and the shit that I've done and experienced, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, life is too short. You just got to laugh sometimes.
100%. You know what I was gonna do? Leading up to this interview, I was gonna do some research. I was like, do I do research? I was like, nah, I don't do research. I mean, should I write some questions out? Nah, let's just hear the story. Like, so I the plan was to come into this interview like that the way I did. I mean, basically as innocent. I don't know if the word innocent, if that's right, but just like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn from you right now. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna have any other information clouding, this interview or this, your story. You know what I mean? Well, I heard this, or you know what I mean? Like, no, just tell me what it is, educate us. But also too, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, man. That shit kind of fucking that threw me coming into this. I came in a little heavy hearted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We watched that dude for so many years.
So
man.
many years.
He was a part of the family and all the nights. If I was in a living room or if I was in a cell, you know what I mean? Watching that dude, you know what I mean, rep the LA Lakers, rep the city, you know what I mean? So I apologize to you if you've, and I'm sure you probably noticed a little, but I was just like a little, like, just kind of like, it fucked me up a little bit, you know what I mean? Coming into this this interview, but as we move forward with it, I think it kind of just like, it worked itself out.
Yeah. No, I literally was getting in my car and I got a notification on my phone. It said Kobe Bryant just died in a helicopter crash, and my stomach dropped. Like I texted my girl and I was like, "Dude, Kobe." Like that's it. And she's like, "Oh my god!" Like I think that it's hitting us. It's hitting everybody. Like that's hard.
That shit, you know what, bro? I was at the gym and I was on this bike and I'm trying to fucking drop some weight and shit. And I just popped it open and I seen the post. I was just like, nah, that's bullshit. Because sometimes you see these fake posts, you know what I mean? And I searched it. I didn't find nothing on YouTube except a couple people doing live streams. I didn't believe, and I'm like, these dudes are just fucking trying to get subscribers on some bullshit, you know what I mean? And then I fucking Googled it, you know what I mean? And that shit just fucking lit up. New York Post, you know what I mean, reputable, you know what I mean, organizations, you know what I mean, that release, you know, real information. You know what I mean? I said, son of a bitch. And then and so I had like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I had like a tear in my eye. You know what I mean? My eyes got watery. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck no. You know what I mean? Because he just, the conversation was, he just had a conversation with LeBron like a day or two ago, talking about, bro, I'm passing you the torch. You know what I mean? This is you now. You know what I mean? And so he was already on my mind about that. And then to find out that his 13-year-old daughter was with him. You know what I mean? That's just, it's so tragic. So coming into this interview, I was really kind of just like, I mean, I was a little unbalanced or something. You know what I mean? But anyways, you know, it's just unfortunate. I came home and I just fucking prayed with my girls. You know what I mean? We all hold hands and we said a prayer for their family. You know what I mean? You know, to stay strong because we good people, right? You know what I mean? You know, we've been through some shit. You know what I mean? There's once upon a time, maybe we were bad people. You know what I mean? But when individuals like yourself and myself come out of such a wild ride in life, you know what I mean? And get all the ups and downs and the pain that we felt, you know what I mean? Like I felt that pain come through when through my phone, I see that shit, you know what I mean? I felt the pain, you know what I mean? Instantly I feel the pain. I mean, like you feel people's pain sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
Just because you've been through so much pain yourself. You know what I mean?
And it, everything's got to have a silver lining, and that's part of this is that I can connect, and I try to do my best not to judge anybody anymore. Even if it's the guy, and I mean I keep dollar bills in my car and in my wallet because I know what that's like. Like it ain't my job to question what you use that dollar for. You're still a human.
Go get that beer, bro.
Whatever
the fuck it is.
You'll find your way just like I found mine.
Yeah.
And I think we just need more of that compassion, especially all the fucked up shit going on right now.
So now that you're on the recovery side, I mean, what's the solution? Is the solution basically like, hey, you know what? You just got to find your way and hopefully you come out of it. Like, because I mean, I just had an individual on here last week. He's homeless, like as of right now, you know what I mean? And, he just, I mean, he loves the lifestyle, but I guess he said if he had an opportunity to come out of it or, have a roof over his head, he would try it, you know what I mean? But I mean, sometimes, I think about it. Because we talked about his kids. I said, what if you're down there and your kids showed up down there?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck would you do? And he was just thrown off. He was like, oh, you know what I mean? And I noticed that I caught him slipping on this question. And he goes, that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. I mean, and he had to think about it for a minute. You know what I mean? I'd be mad. I'd be furious. Or then he'd be like, well, I said, would you smoke some dope with it? Trying to score some dope from you? So like, would you smoke some dope with them? You know what I mean? And he goes, well, you know what I mean? He goes, well, they wouldn't get no dope from me. I'm like, I'm not implying that you're a dope dealer, bro. I'm just saying, like, would you get, And he goes, well, they would have to go through it then. You know what I mean? They would have to go through it. And I said, you know what, bro? Some people are going to be mad at you for saying that. Like, you fucking idiot. What do you mean they're going to have to go figure it out themselves? You know what I mean? What the fuck's wrong with you? That's your fucking kids. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Fucking stupid, or, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people have something to say about that.
Right.
But then I thought about it and I said, well, you know what, bro? I mean, I personally wouldn't deal with it like that. Grab them motherfucking asses, you know what I mean? And I do this and that, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when I was at my worst, you weren't telling me shit. You know what I mean? You had to let me go through what I was going through and work it out myself. Because what you have to offer me or what you have to say to me, that's not the fight in my battle. My battle was within myself.
Exactly.
I was like, you know what I mean? People like remember Lucky as this and that and whoop, whoop. I'm sorry you got in the way of the fight between me and myself.
Yeah.
I apologize. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing against you. Oh, hey, fucking woo, blah, blah, bblah. You know what I mean? Nah, bro, you got like, you see me by myself, but you were just an innocent bystander that caught in the mix of my madness from, you know what I mean? Because I was such like you say, you were so angry. I was so angry too, man. I felt like, you know what I mean? I was so upset since I was like 5 years old and shit. You know, I felt like I got shitted on by, this and that, you know what I mean? And you know, I didn't like the cards that I was dealt, you know what I mean? And you know, so I went on that angry path like you did, you know what I mean? I hit the streets, you know what I mean? Fucking just wilding out, you know what I mean? But so I relate with you on that, you
Yeah.
know. But so back to what he was saying, like you gotta sometimes, like, it doesn't matter what you do for a person. Like maybe sometimes people have to run their course, and all you can do is pray for them and say, hey, you know what, I hope you make it to the end of of the road, the light, you know,
Yeah.
the end of the tunnel, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? How do you feel about that?
No, that's how I feel through my own experience. It's and with the kids, like now that I'm a dad, you know, it's because I used to be angry at my parents, like, how you gonna let me do this shit? Like, how you gonna, even though they tried, but it was like talking to a fucking brick wall.
Yeah.
And I was doing what I was gonna do, and nobody was gonna stop me.
Yeah.
I was gonna figure it out myself to the point where they became so gripped by the fear. And later, when I was able to, make that amends to my mom, and she broke down crying, she's like, I don't care who you are, who you love. Like, I was so scared that the day that I got that phone call to come identify your body,
Yeah.
and she's like, it was too much pain to endure. And they had to stop. They had to stop enabling the behavior,
Yeah.
and I did find my way,
A lot of people don't make it out.
a lot don't.
I mean, you're lucky you made it out from the sounds from the story you tell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to, kill yourself,
Mhm.
you know?
It I know that I by all odds shouldn't be sitting here today. I shouldn't have the life that I do today. You know, at this point, because I've lost a lot of buddies,
Yeah.
and I work in recovery, and you see it every day. You get that phone call, so and so, they relapse, they overdose, they're gone. This person's back in prison. So it just makes you grateful. I got to stop asking, like, why me? Like, it doesn't solve anything. I'm not going to figure out the answer to that question. Like,
Yeah.
I just get to be grateful and try to help somebody else.
And that's it. Do you believe that's your purpose now in life?
Yeah.
So you're a helper.
Um,
You believe you were set on this earth to educate and help people.
And I think I had to go to my own hell to be able to understand deeper, to be able to help.
I mean, some people go to college, I mean, to learn a certain profession.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what better to have someone in a recovery home than an ex-addict that's been through hell and back? I mean, you can't have someone that's lived a suburbia. I mean, like lived a life where they've never been around none of that, or they have no, because they can't relate to that shit.
Right.
I mean, is everybody in those recovery homes ex-addicts?
I'd say the majority. We do have people who have never really experienced, living the lifestyle that's associated with like getting, addicted to drugs and alcohol. So the majority of us, but there's a need for someone. And usually what I've noticed is those people who get in it because there was a family member.
Right,
Gotcha. Or they grew up watching their parents, or there's a drive, there's a reason why they want to be there.
All heart,
but
all
it's
heart.
much easier for me to relate to somebody coming in and be like, man, I get it, like I've been there, hang the fuck on, man, because it's gonna be a ride right now. Where they can trust me a lot easier than the person who comes in all like,
yeah.
so what's it like to do drugs?
Yeah, I mean, that would be really hard for, the person taught, for both sides, you know what I mean? It'd be really hard, you know what I mean? And no relations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to relate, man. Well, I think let me see what we got right here. So do you consider yourself a Christian? Coming from that homie Smiley right there.
Smiley.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Smiley? No, I don't actually consider myself a Christian. I don't define my belief system. I mean, that's really, growing up, I had a lot of prejudice because I was raised in a very, I was raised around a lot of Christianity, and I saw hypocrisy attached to that. where people were, do as I say, not as I do type of thing.
Yeah.
And it turned me off. I think it also scared me because it meant that I was going to go to hell. And so today I do have a deep belief system that is absolutely 100% the most important part of my life. Like my belief in God, creator, universe, energy, spirit. I just don't define it. It is the single most important thing in my life that keeps me sober and keeps me doing what I'm doing and has kept me alive. I know that.
So you do pray.
Yes.
So my prayer starts out with, dear Lord in heaven. What would your prayer start out with?
Creator.
Creator. Dear creator in heaven.
Mhm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or God. I mean, how do you define something so?
I don't, bro.
You don't.
Yeah,
you don't even try.
I mean, I'm not that dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 100% like, I'm a believer. People say, what are you? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Maybe I would identify a little more with the Christian faith, but at the end of the day, like, don't motherfucking label me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't label me with all this shit. You know what I mean? Because all that shit is just a lot of fucking drama.
Well,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And I pray and I believe there's a superior being, and we all do.
Yeah.
But everybody's got to put a fucking label on, what God is. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we really don't know.
Yeah. And for me, the important part is just to live by those set of spiritual principles, and I try my best and I fall short because I'm a human, but I have the next day to rectify that and try and be a better man.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Jennifer Jackson's got a message for you. She said, you have a wonderful, sad, and beautiful story all mixed in one.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what you have, I mean, to being to the point of, living on the streets, prostitution, drugs, like, I mean, you hit all the elements, you know what I mean? When it comes to the dirt, you know what I mean? The dirt surface, you know what I mean? You've overdosed, you've been through some really emotional stuff, you know what I mean? Like, do you have to, do you get therapy to this day?
No, I don't. I think a lot of like the body, the mind, the spirit heals itself, and I think by asking my creator into my life and helping people like from that altruistic place of like, hey, I've got a mound in my arsenal to be able to like reach somebody who wants to kill themselves, like by that and like doing those selfless acts and like thinking about other people or, just fucking putting a shopping cart away that somebody fucking left in the parking lot, like those little things, just trying to be a better person, has allowed me to actually be able to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what, like I forgive you and I love you, and
I love that. Gotta love yourself. Yeah. You gotta love yourself. But forgiving yourself, you know what I mean? I forgive you and I love you, you know what I mean? And you're forgiving yourself for past actions, for past, I understand the loving yourself, sometimes you forgive somebody else, but you're saying you forgive yourself.
That was the hardest person to forgive.
Was yourself.
It was myself.
Because of what you resented yourself. You resented your old self.
I resented, the old self. And I mean, even today, sometimes it still creeps in, but like for the ways I treated other people and the way I treated myself, I did some pretty vile shit.
Because you were just so unhappy with yourself and you just lashed out at everybody. Anyone that came in your path, you were just, I can relate to that. I've done a lot of that myself. When you're hurt inside and you're not happy inside, man. And it's just like, but I never thought about it like that, about forgiving myself. I always thought about it just healing myself. You know what I mean? Like I barely like, I'm I'm 42 right now. You know what I mean? And I'm barely like fucking finding that balance in life. I used to look at myself, man. I just be like, man, fuck you. I mean, I hated who I saw. You know what I mean? I hated who I turned into. You know what I mean? I was so angry inside and shit. You know what I mean? And I was really unhappy. And I just recently, within like 5 years, something like that. You know what I mean? I started just like, figuring shit out, working on myself, healing myself. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people I've been called in the past being narcissistic. What is it?
Narcissistic.
Yeah. They just didn't understand that I was always, you know what I mean? It was nothing against you, past relationships. It's me trying to find happiness within myself. And once I find the happiness within myself, then it's gonna, be good for everybody else around me.
That's true.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. Just like they say and I just said this recently, I don't know if I said it on a podcast, but when you're in an airplane, what does a stewardess tell you?
Put the mask on yourself before you put it on your child.
Yeah. And that's life. I mean, for you to have this good relationship with your girl now, you know what I mean? Like if you never, I mean, it helps to have a support system, to have someone that loves you, like my girl has been with me through some shit too, you know what I mean? And she's seen me struggle and I've seen her struggle, and we've helped each other at times. And, you need that love, that support system. It most definitely complements or, helps you through those trying times, so, and your girl's been there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And it's the same thing. It's, it's give and take, reciprocity. Like we've both been through some shit, so, but being there for her too,
Yeah, 100%.
Which a lot of times she's like, she tells me all the time, she's like, God, I know you're a dude. You don't ever listen. You don't ever hear me.
Yeah.
Like, is this thing, and it's just real linear thinking, but there are those times where like, you do, and you just like, you want to push them a little more to just like encourage them. Like, you can get through this. You can get through this shit too.
Yeah, for sure. I think you got some questions right here.
All right.
Let's see what we got here. Let's see. All religions are hypocrites. You'll love you good stuff. I turned 90 days into 11 years straight.
That's right.
From juvenile hall to CYA to prison.
That's right.
Now I'm a graduate student working on a master's degree. Boxer, Town, Turbulent. I said, what's up? That's right. Hey, shout out to Boxer, man. What up, G? Appreciate you tapping in and leaving a comment, bro. Keep that shit fucking, keep it moving, G. That's what's up. Congrats. What else we got right here? I was with shoe in the 90s. Yeah, that's right, homie. Fucking OG right there. RIP. He passed late 90s. I was on the 1 year RIP Kobe Bryant. Yes, RIP Kobe Bryant, man. That shit, my heart's still broken right now, man. That's crazy. These dudes are just going back and forth with each other. Love Adrian.
Lisa.
You know Lisa?
That's my boss.
Oh, is that right?
That's my boss. Yeah.
That's your boss right there?
Yeah, we work. I'm her right hand.
Is that right?
That. Yeah.
Shout out to Lisa.
She's taught me a lot too.
Yeah.
About working in the field of addiction is not easy, but it's so rewarding, and it's not about the money. Like, there's so much shit going on, and people dying and just like playing games with their lives because they can make a buck, or, I'm sure you've read it. I mean, we're here in Southern California, but it's nice to be able to be in this field with honest, genuine people who have stories too. And their reason is because, they found a way out, and their only hope is that they can get to somebody else.
And Lisa's one of those people.
Lisa's one of those people.
Shout out to Lisa. Much love, Lisa. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what's up. Hell yeah. You know, I mean that when you were talking right now, the first word that came to my mind was genuine, and then you said genuine. You know what I mean? And I was kind of vibing with you on that. You know what I mean? Like working in your field, I'm sure you know there's a business side, and then you got the genuine people. You know what I mean? That are all heart, man, and they're just like, you know, like you said, it's not about the money. You know what I mean? You know, we this is this, you know, it's the more success you guys have in there is the more kind of like healing to your soul almost, right? You know what I mean? It's your success as well.
Man, there's like one of the greatest things aside from like waking up next to a beautiful woman and a freaking rad kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, having like, you know, your little space, your little sanctuary. But is watching somebody like get 30 days and those lights like just kind of come, you know, they start coming on and you can see the life grow inside of them. Like it's such a cool experience.
That 30 days of sobriety.
Not, you know, and it happens so quickly. Like somebody who comes in like I did, so hopeless, so broken down, so beat up, so full of self-loathing and, you know, and just like with no hope. And to literally just like over the days, you start to see the strength, the color, the eyes open, like, you know, and to do that. And then they start talking and they open it up and then they get some time. Like it's such a cool experience to watch someone behind you do the same hard work that you put in and then the life that they get.
Does that make your heart smile? Or?
Oh, yeah. I'd say, yeah. I mean, it's
just like, damn, who came, you know what I mean? Like you guys all wait for the transfer, like the kind of like the transformation of when they came in, you know what I mean? Just fucking strung out, tore the fuck up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, X amount of days of sobering up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's cool. It is. And then, you know, people stay sober long enough. They're like, they'll come back and I had a cool experience. I was at Target with my kid and we were waiting for her mom who was doing something inside. And so we were doing circles around the parking lot and I had seen an old client. And they were there with their girlfriend who was also sober and they were there with their baby and then like her parents. And it was like, hey, and they're like, thank you so much. Like, thank you, you know, and to see like, just like there, and I got to see that kid's baby and like for him to be able to show up in that life, you know, and it's so exciting. I get to go back and, you know, tell, oh my God, you'll never believe it. They're doing so well. And, you know, that's all you can hope for, but not everybody gets it.
100%. Your birth name one more time?
Adriana.
Okay. So if she was watching right now, what would you say to your old self? What would be the message?
You're going to be okay. Yeah. That's heavy. I never actually, you like those ones, those, yeah. I mean, I would tell myself, Adriana, you're going to be okay. There's going to be a lot of trials, a lot of heartache, but you're strong enough and you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Just work it out. Stay strong. Yeah. And there probably is one out there just listening right now too. You know, life, man, life is, you know, life can tend to be a roller coaster sometimes. You know what I mean? You know, and I just appreciate you so much, man, for coming on.
Thanks, brother.
You know, speaking from the heart, you know, this is going to be good. This is good for now. And this is good for the future. This bit of information right here, your story, Adrian's story, is now out there in the universe, you know, for people to tune in and know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So what is on the way out of this interview, of our time right now? What do you have, like, what, you know, in the future? You know what I mean? What's it looking like? Do you have any plans? You know what I mean? You know, what is the ultimate the goal, the mission in life, your mission in life, you know what I mean, where you can just be like, all right, you know, the book is complete. You know what I mean?
I think where I'm at right now is there's a little more clarity as far as like there's no impulsivity, but I'm just okay just sitting and waiting and not knowing, I let the universe present the opportunities, and it's up to me to seize them. So I don't really plan too much.
You don't plan too much.
No.
Just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, like exactly.
Because you're kind of you're fairly new in your newfound peace within yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, do you ever worry about slipping?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a fear of relapse. I've seen it before. Somebody will come in and I had 10, 15, 20 years sober, and here they are in detox again.
Yeah.
That's definitely a healthy fear for me, but I don't get too cocky with it. Like
Yeah.
I know,
You respect it.
I respect the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Like I know the only difference between the person sitting in detox and me is a few days, and the fact that I have some more sober experience, and I better honor that. I better respect that, and I keep doing what I've been doing because it's obviously worked. But I also know that the day that I get too cocky, or the day that I think I'm too good for this shit, will be the day of my next death.
Yeah.
So I do keep that healthy fear, and I don't ever get too cocky and say like, I'm coming up on 5 years, man. I got this shit. Like every day is a learning experience. Every day presents a new opportunity. I've been through some difficult times in sobriety, where you question, fuck, am I going to be able to stay sober through this? And you literally take it moment by moment and surround yourselves with, those positive people who, I've got friends that I grew up with, we went through some shit together and they're sober now. And it's kind of like, yeah, my past, you've been like, we don't have to do this alone. Be willing to ask for that help.
Yeah. If there's anybody out there that wants to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you if they need someone to talk to?
Well, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
And I am on Instagram. You've tagged me on the webpage.
Yeah.
So Adrian Debray, I would shoot out a messenger.
Yeah. Are you open to take people's?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're struggling either with gender identity, sexuality, you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to, recovery, drugs, addiction, alcoholism, absolutely reach out. I can't help everybody. I'd love to.
Yeah.
But I help within my means, and I give what I can within myself, without trying to drain myself dry.
Yeah. You got to keep yourself. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Hey, well, Adrian, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. That was fucking badass.
That's good.
Appreciate it. Hey, everybody give it up for Adrian.